People of the internet and your casual YouTube subscriber. So I am so sorry that I did not do a live stream for this press conference. I was busy. But I am going to basically be reacting to almost the entire press conference. I might skip some beats. And essentially I'll just let it play out and then I'll give my commentary. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let's get into the press conference. I have seen this, but I have some thoughts on what people have on what Jake and Woodley have said.
Because you guys, had a private photo shoot. There was no media there. But in that private photo shoot, you guys had a chance to, kind of face off, look at one another.
I hate that the problem bot is there. It's just like, what even is that
photo
thing?
Shoot, you said during the face-off, quote, I saw it in his eyes.
Saw it in his eyes.
I saw it deep in his soul that he knew this right hand was going to crack him in his skull.
I think that's the left
still stand by
hand that the robot's doing.
Yeah, look, I saw fear in his eyes. I saw a man who just accepted a fight.
Renowned content creator.
Saw a man who doesn't really have fight left in him. Saw a man who's been defeated multiple times now and who will be finished and sent into retirement by YouTube Disney star boxer.
Keyword you saw.
And so this is what I've kind of feel like Jake kind of just gave away the whole reason why he fought Woodley. He used a lot of words like washed up, retired, like he doesn't have a fight left in him. And this is the Jake Paul business model of boxing, is picking opponents that he can easily beat. So he has this perfect record. And in Woodley, while he's a great striker, Jake clearly sees that this guy is easy. Because remember, guys, Jake Paul does not pick people that are very good at what they do. Now, I'm not saying that Woodley's going to be bad, but I feel like Jake has this expectation that Woodley's going to be like another Ben Askren 2.0. And clearly, I don't think that's what's going to happen. But I feel like that whole sentiment that he just shared kind of showed us that he's, looking at the people that are older than him, shorter than him, way less than him, not retired, but like on a losing streak that don't have a fight left in them, instead of fighting people that are as equally motivated and as big in him in terms of height and size and at the same level that he is at technically. And that's my little tangent. And then he also said that the YouTube Disney kid, and I hate that he says that because it's the classic move of downplaying yourself and hyping up your opponent, and kind of illegitimizing you as a fighter, which Woodley does point out. But yeah,
saw a man. Something you're a problem child. That's what you saw.
Woodley should be a preacher because he preaches facts.
To judge a face off from. My sparring partners will finish you.
We'll see,
But nice watch, though.
We'll see what happens, I think your career is over, man.
I know. You think I know. It's two different things.
I'm going to bounce your brain off of your skull. Instant concussion, you will be on the mat. You're just not the same Tyron anymore.
I never was Tyron, number one. Number two.
Oh, so Jake Paul mispronounced his name. It's not Tyrone Woodley. It's Tyron Woodley, I think. So I mispronounced it too. And then Jake said something. Oh, what did he say? He said when Woodley was talking to him, Jake's response was just like, yeah, sure, we'll see. It seems so unlike Jake Paul to have such a one-dimensional response, with the Ben Askren fight, with the Gibb fight, with the Nate Robinson fight. Jake's always coming back with a rebuttal, with some may say a witty comeback. I never think they are witty at all, but it's interesting to see that. Now, again, I don't think Jake is nervous, and for any people that might analyze body analysis, Jake has tics and stuff, and it doesn't show that he's nervous. But I feel like Woodley kind of upstaged him, because when Woodley talks facts and he doesn't talk the stuff that Jake is talking about, Jake has no response. So I don't think Jake is, I'd say, per se nervous about Woodley. I think that he clearly is understanding the stuff that used to work isn't working, and the stuff that would get his opponent down isn't working, which could be potential of the fight. Because I think that Jake is somebody that has a very clear plan book in terms of feints and big overhand rights and whatnot and all that stuff. And if that doesn't work, or if he doesn't get away with something with Woodley, I don't know if Jake will be able to necessarily know what to do, which is what I'm seeing in this press conference. And again, press conferences don't mean really anything in terms of the actual fight, but it is something that I think is intriguing and that I think we should keep in mind.
Everything you just scripted and wrote and practiced in the mirror, you shaking while you even saying it. Like, this is a fight. This ain't fucking for play. This for real.
Another ad.
Tyron, let me ask you this. Let me follow up on that.
I am not playing ads, guys. I am not playing the ads.
Because you told the boxing scene.
But, Woodley is right in a way. A lot of Jake Paul's stuff is, I think he kind of doesn't come off, like, on the cuff, on the whim. He kind of practices this, rehearses this. And Woodley is calling out Jake Paul and making himself aware. And when he does this, Jake kind of just sits there and takes it.
You're going to knock Jake out in 3 rounds. Say a quote. They're gas. You're taking me lightly. Think you can beat me up. They're lying to this kid. I'm going to F him up.
Yeah, this commentator, like, recreating what they've said is so funny.
You still stand by that?
I mean, look at my resume. Look at all the up-and-coming fighters. The Darren Tills, the Kevin Gaslams, the one they gassed up and they gave false hope that they can get the job done. And watch what happened. None of them landed a punch. So him being athletic, him having a right hand, him getting everybody either want him to... So many people come up to me on a day-to-day basis. You got to knock him the fuck out. I'm like, damn, what this dude done did to everybody? He got people wanting to watch him. That's why we sitting here right now.
That's the exact pressure that's going to crack you on fight night.
The pressure's going to be on you, brother.
You have never been in a fight like this, and you
Ever,
know
right?
that the whole MMA community
Robbie
is
Lawler,
counting
Carlos
on you.
Condit, Darren Till. I've never been in a fight like that.
Don't know who the fuck those guys are.
So this is what Jake did to Ben Askren, what he's done to Gibb, kind of saying, oh, this is your 15 seconds of fame, you're not ready for this pressure's gonna break you. And I feel like that's a bit of self-reflection, because I feel like when Jake says, oh, the whole MMA community is watching you, or is counting on you, and he said the same thing about Ben Askren, and the MMA community didn't really get that upset when, or I guess they didn't get that, crazed when Ben lost, because there was a divide there. And if anything, Tyron is absolutely correct. All of the pressure is on Jake Paul, because Jake Paul is gonna face what we hope is his toughest challenge yet. Woodley's already on a losing streak, so him losing to Jake Paul would only cement the fact that he needs to retire, and like Woodley says later on in the interview, I'm still a Hall of Fame champion, I still have a great career to look back on, and that's true. I mean, even if he loses to Jake Paul, it's kind of becoming a trend of these older, retired or on losing streak people fighting Jake Paul, and they're kind of fine from it, Ben Askren won't just be remembered for the Jake Paul fight, so that's my stance. And then when he said oh, we don't know who those people are, well, you know who those people are.
Exactly.
You've never been on a fight of this scale. You've never been on You've never been on a fight of this scale, which is why this is the biggest payday of your life. And you know that the whole MMA community is counting on you to knock me out and to beat me. When you lost to Kamaru
I got
Usman,
one person counting
when
on
you
me,
lost to
me.
Gilbert Burns.
So I liked what Woodley said, which is, I have one person that I'm counting on, and that is me. And that's an amazing line, because Woodley doesn't care about what the MMA community wants. He doesn't care about the pressure. And Jake's mind games are so obvious, it's kind of a little surprising to see his trash talk, which has always been pretty bad, but it's really falling apart here. And I just feel like Jake kind of took a bit of an L with this press conference. And I'm not saying he's nervous, but all of the stuff that semi-worked on Ben Askren and definitely worked on Nate and Gibb and Deadly just is not working at all with Woodley, and I love to see it.
When you lost to all of those guys, you had built-in excuses.
When
they were
have
the
you
best.
fought anybody of that
they were the
caliber?
best. What happens when you lose to
When
Jake
have
Paul?
you fought anybody
What
of
happens
that
when you lose
caliber?
to Jake Paul? You're going to be the laughing stock.
What Woodley said there is, you haven't fought anyone at that level, at their level of caliber, and that's a straight fact. I mean, all Jake Paul has proven, and this is a tough fact, but you gotta admit it, is that he has proven that he can box people that don't know how to box. And that's just a cold hard fact. Take it or leave it, but it is what it is. It's true.
When have you fought anybody
just like
of that
like
caliber?
I turned Nate Robinson into a floor mat, I'm going to turn you into fucking paste.
Nate Robinson plays basketball. He shoot 3 points and slam dunk.
Hey, Jake,
I knock people out for a living.
is this the toughest fight? When you look at the 3 that you fought, Tyron Woodley, toughest fight?
Just
I want to
skipping.
continue to increase my opponent's, skill level. I want to challenge myself. This is a legitimate
Increase
knockout
my level?
artist. This is a legitimate knockout artist. He was boxing while I was on Disney Channel. He's been boxing probably 4 or 5 times as long as me. But August 29th, Cleveland, Ohio, in my hometown, you will see a boxing clinic be put on. And this man doesn't go more than 3 rounds.
Tyron, one of the things we saw on social media is that you show some pictures of you training with Floyd Mayweather. Can you tell us?
Oh, so then they talk about Floyd. Just gonna skip a little bit.
Specifically to defeat. Sometimes we do a lot of shut.
I'm just gonna skip.
You can say, I'm out to say anything. I'm from the show me state. You got to show me. I've been in there. This ain't my first big stage. I was at the sold out Madison Square Garden with the fight of the night. The biggest gate they've ever had in history. The best card in UFC history. I was a fight of the night.
That's not true. The biggest gate was last weekend in Vegas, but
The biggest gate of Madison Square Garden. Listen to what I say, young man.
That's true. It's like Jake Paul was shot. Like, he literally just kind of doesn't seem to know what to do when he's put in a corner by Woodley's words and preachings. And I didn't like that, like, at the beginning of this, when, like, I don't know if you can see this, but, like, this guy, who I think might be Jake's manager, maybe? I don't know who this is. He said that with each opponent, Jake's kind of increased it, and he hasn't. I mean, he was already at a low with Deadly, and then we thought he went up with Gibb, but that turned out to be lower than Deadly, and then he went backwards with Nate, and then he went even further backwards with Ben Askren. This is the first fight that he's actually going forward, and it's just really funny. And again, Jake tries to twist it or do this and humiliate him. Woodley comes back with facts. The way to beat Jake Paul is through cold, hard facts. And by making, like, if you don't allow him to get into your head, which is what Woodley said in an interview, like, I have to be the one winning the mental war. I can't let him win that. It just shows me how committed he is and how he really understands how much of a threat Jake Paul can be and how he's figured out his game plan, because Jake steals from Conor, from Floyd, and Tyron understands that, and he knows how to counter back. And again, I think this could show in the fight is if Jake starts throwing his overhand rights, he starts doing the things that worked and the stuff that he's able to get away with, and then Tyron is capitalizing on the mistakes that Jake's making, and he's not getting affected by the shots that Jake's landing. If this press conference, which again, press conferences can mean literally legit nothing, but if this press conference is any indicator, it shows that when Jake Paul is backed up against the wall and the stuff that he used to do that worked, and that he was able to get away with, isn't working, he just kind of sits there and gives up, or doesn't really have a rebuttal. And that could very much be what we might see in the fight if Woodley comes out strong, which I think he will.
So, how is Floyd Mayweather gonna teach?
Oh yeah, and then he talked about
me when he couldn't
Jake
even
is just
finish my brother.
Just talk
Floyd
about
Mayweather.
money and just talk about clout. Because when we talk about fighting, you shouldn't even be talking in the same sentences with me.
facts.
I mean, we could talk.
I'm a Hall of Fame already. And I'm going to make history bouncing your head off the mat. Now what?
Well, we can talk about fighting. I mean, if you want to dive into it. I mean,
What can-
look at your
what can-
coaches. Who
what-
is your coach? Is
what
it?
can-
That was just so polite of Jake. He's like, well, we can talk about fighting if you want to get into it. I'm like, it was like he just seems so off guarded by Woodley's responses, and what Woodley is saying is true. Jake is talking about the materialistic, about other things besides the real fighting, and it just he got him there.
Pedro
refer
Diaz?
to?
Is it Eric Brown? Is it Floyd Mayweather? You're bouncing around coaches like you do baby mamas. How many kids you got now? You're a 39-year-old man whose pull-up
guess
game
what?
is weak.
You know
Get
what's
your
funny?
shit together, bro.
You know what's funny? You got on
Get
all
your
this
shit together,
you
bro.
look like a rap video. Tell me somebody in your neighborhood that dressed like that.
I'm going fishing.
Tell me
after
somebody
this.
in your neighborhood that dressed like that.
I'm going fishing.
Tyron,
after this.
I am coach.
How about this?
You want to be
People
a rapper?
rap about what I live.
You want to
My coaches
want
are
to be a
cohesive.
rapper. You
My
have
coaches
multiple
are
songs
cohesive.
on Spotify that fucking suck with 2 streams,
Brother.
buddy.
I just gotta skip this part because it's.
your money.
Biggest flex is my kid.
You bought
I know.
a used bag.
You're gonna pay for those words, brother.
So let me ask you.
I mean, I just gotta skip that because it was so cringy. Because here's the thing: if that was like a YouTube crowd or like younger kids, or this Tyron was a Woodley was a YouTuber, everyone would be like, "Oh, shots fired!" Yada yada. But it just comes off as so cringy and just reaching for something, and it was just very poor.
Do this, Tyron.
By
Let
the
me
way, I'm not gonna pay.
Plugs,
I'm paying
plugs,
you.
hey, plugs,
I'm paying you.
plugs get pulled for that word. You gonna find out.
So
Okay,
You gonna
rapper.
find out.
How about this?
Okay,
You gonna
rapper.
find out.
Tyron,
I'm culture. I can talk about culture.
A lot of
'Cause I'm
people-
what they rap about.
a lot of people have written because they go back to your UFC record and they say, well, he
To you when you leave the gym, you would never fucking walk in that.
Oh, hold on.
or he even lost his last fight, obviously in the octagon. Does he still have enough left in the tank? Can you answer that?
Jake, meet me in sparring tonight. Let's get a warm up in. I guarantee you when you leave the gym, you would never fucking walk in that ring with me ever. If you really want to see, if we're a fighter, if it's all about money or if it's all about clout, meet me at the gym today.
Jake,
And this is a perfect indication that I know Woodley is confident because Jake Paul later on in the press conference says, if you're so confident, like tattoo yourself, which is the most immature thing because he's trying to get people to see, oh, he's not that confident. But here's the thing. Woodley, on the spot, challenged Jake Paul to go spar with him after this press conference. And then he said, I guarantee you, you're gonna let's have a warm-up and you're not going to walk out the same guy. And that, to me, shows that Woodley is actually confident. And the fact that Jake won't take that up doesn't show me that Jake's not confident, but it just shows me, again, he's not actually about this fight game. He's about the money, the clout, the relevancy. You know, he's not about this, guys. He is not a real fighter. He is not a real fighter, and he is a coward and a runner away. And I'm not... And people might say, oh, you're being biased and this and that, but Woodley literally, if you literally get asked by somebody to spar them, and you're a boxer, and you say, nah, bro, whatever, it makes no sense. And the thing is before people say, oh, well, Jake doesn't want to get hurt or whatnot, I mean, here's the thing, there's such a thing called a light spar, or just do spars to the body. I mean, it's not needing to be a brawl where they try to rip their heads off. But that just shows that Woodley is confident, and that Jake just tried to make some immature thing about a tattoo. It's just, he's not about this life, guys. He's not, and he's proven it time and time and time again. And I don't know how many more times it will take you guys to get that. And I will stand by all of my statements.
if
Meet me at the
you,
gym.
Jake,
You are stupid as fuck.
Holla at your boy.
let me ask you this.
And Jake gets offered this legit thing, and he says, you're stupid as beep. That is all he has. When he is actually talking about more materialistic things or other things, you can tell when Jake comes back with a good rebuttal or he's being clever and witty. And here, he just didn't, if that's all you say, which is you're stupid or whatever, really, that's all you can come up with? And again, I think this might be how the fight plays out potentially. I hope it does.
Watch what happens.
If you win this fight,
When?
and obviously you've knocked out everybody you face. If you stop him,
Some of the best fighters in the world: Andrew Tabiti, Jean Pascal, Jalen Love, Rob Safar, Ahmed Ilibali. The list goes on.
Scoring thoughts.
And when I knock out Tyron, I think people will be like, wow.
You're sparring these guys, yet you're still doing the same mistake. The same move, 3 fights in a row. And again, I think that Jake I think he is taking it seriously, and I do semi-respect that, he's working with these really top-notch people, but are they going as hard as they should at you? And the fact that you are not changing your technique and these mistakes you are, show that you can train as hard as you want, but if you are getting surrounded by people like Yes Men Flores, and people aren't really criticizing you, and they're getting complacent or whatever, all that training might be just for nothing, because if you're not going to actually improve and the guys aren't going 100% on you, there's just so many question marks with Jake Paul's camp. Like with KSI's camp, you know that Vidal and Leon push him to the limit, that they train him hard, that his current coach is having him spar 12 rounds. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks I have with his camp.
Oh, this kid is he's the real deal. Like Amanda Serrano out here. We were just training last night. She has one of the highest knockout rates for.
Okay, we get it, Jake.
I'm a real killer. I'm gonna take Tyron into deep waters and drown him. And this is my make or break fight. People are wanting to see me lose. You know, the MMA community wants to see Jake Paul fall. They're counting on Tyron, but he's just not gonna get the job done.
So I know there are members of the media want to ask him questions.
Violence.
People can say I didn't earn it. People will say I don't deserve it, but I'm earning more than any fighter has ever earned 3 fights in. And people know what
I want to go back.
impactful 3-0 boxer in history.
So this was just.
I mean, people know what they get when you're
So
tuning into a
surprising.
Jake Paul event. That's
All
why.
3 times.
That's why I'm the most impactful 3-0 boxer in history.
I mean, I have to stop you there because that is so not true. I mean, it's how, like, he's not impactful in the slice. In 10 years, nobody's going to be talking about Jake Paul 100%. No one will be talking about KSI or Logan Paul. They might reference it, but none of these YouTubers are going to be remembered like Ali, like Mike Tyson. Like, this guy has fought bums, and that is it. And again, it's all that business mentality. It's all about, he's boxing. He's a business boxer. He's not like a real boxer. Like, Floyd Mayweather is a business boxer. Mike Tyson is like a boxer. And that's just all there needs to say at that. And the thing is like, none of Floyd's opponents or even Mike Tyson's opponents were as bad as your opponents, and those guys were actual boxers. And again, if you think that you're the best, or you think Jake Paul is the best because he's KO'd people, you don't know boxing, because Floyd Mayweather is not a knockout artist, but he's considered one of the greats, and at least he actually boxed real boxers. And then him talking about being paid and on this level, Showtime is using you, Jake, because they see that you bring in money and clout and relevancy, and once that eventually fades, they'll be done with you.
No fighter has ever accomplished what I've accomplished in 3 fights. And people can say I didn't earn it. People will say I don't deserve it, but I'm earning more.
He really doesn't, though.
Has ever.
And you guys know why.
3 fights in. And people know what they get when they tune into a Jake Paul show. I'm knocking this guy out. That's what people want to see. And we're putting on a show.
How you gonna do it? And I don't think that. I don't think he don't deserve it. I think what he's doing is I'm a Disney, I'm a vlogger, and I'm fighting this seasoned
Woodley,
veteran
take
UFC
me to
champion.
church and preach.
It's all just in case. It's a backup excuse for when I wax you in that ring. That's what it is. He a fighter. This is gonna look like a fight. It's a lot of fights that's taking place that people are like, oh, this is bad for the sport. Will look like a fight. It's not going. I'm not just gonna walk out there and swing 2 punches and everybody think I'm knocking him out in 2 minutes. This is a real fucking fight. I'm training like I'm fighting Mike Tyson. I want y'all to really know that. So don't fall for the BS. Oh, I'm Disney. Oh, this is the. No, this is a fight. You want to fight me? You sign the line. It's war.
And that was, oh my god, take me to church. That is Pastor Woodley. Pastor Woodley. PW. Pastor Woodley. WW. Pastor Woodley win. What Woodley said here was pure and factual facts. Jake has the script of doing, and look at Jake's face. Look at his face. That is a face of defeat. A face of, he got me, and I have no rebuttal. And again, I think that this might be an indicator of what might happen in the actual fight. And again, Woodley's like, this is a real fight. Wake up. Don't listen to this kid's lies. And this is something I've said over and over again. People have constantly hated me for it, and now a real fighter is seeing it, and hopefully you see it now. And the thing is that Woodley sounds as motivated as Jake does, which is something that we don't really see with a lot of Jake's opponents. And the fact that he's saying, I'm training as if I'm fighting Mike Tyson, is the exact mentality you want to see from another fighter. And Jake Paul has that same mentality too. So, I mean, that whole sequence was just music to my ears. You can't debate it.
We got members of the media. I know you guys have questions. We're going to pass the mic to you. Just make sure.
So, the Connor chain is back at home right now. But Dustin Poirier sent me over his address.
No, I was just talking about Connor.
Sleepy McGregor chain.
Before you answer the next question, Jake, you had initially offered Conor McGregor $50 million. Then after the loss, you said,
I think it could happen, right? I think the funny thing about this journey is I've predicted, everything that has happened thus far. 18 months ago when I said I wanted to fight Conor, people laughed at me. Now I'm laughing at Conor with a broken ankle, sitting there in the octagon, and he needs Jake Paul more than I need him.
That's just so not
yeah,
true, and everyone knows that.
Is $23, and if we ever fought, I would knock those fake ass teeth right out of his fucking mouth. Dustin Poirier defeated this man, and Dustin Poirier is an amazing fighter. Don't get me wrong, an amazing guy. I actually became a fan of his over the weekend. But he's 5'9", 155 pounds. I'm 6'1", 200, and so Conor McGregor would not stand a chance.
Really?
And look, the price and the stock just keeps on going up. Showtime pay-per-views, and I think there's a long list of people, but it just figuring out who's active and
Tommy
who
Fury
makes the most sense.
Dylan Moran.
And me and my team will make that decision when the time is right.
Okay, and that's awesome. And what advantages do you think your opponent has over you?
Wait, when does he talk about Canelo?
You gain a lot of money. Dustin Poirier, and me and my team will make that decision.
The Robbie Lawler. I'm not trying to gas Robbie Lawler. It's not gonna hurt me to focus just on striking.
No,
Let's go
just
for you
talking.
guys.
I'm just gonna skip forward a little bit.
Jake, I just want to add some experience to my belt. Look, I want to go after Canelo in 3 years. I want to be a world champion. And so...
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, I'm sorry, but that just won't happen. Like, Jake Paul cannot become world champion in 3 years. If he said, okay, maybe in 5 years I can fight Canelo, but here's the thing. Canelo, 1, is a lot older than you, 2, is shorter than you, and 3, weighs less than you, 4, would kill you in under a minute. Like, he would I don't even would want to know what Canelo would do to Jake, and I don't know how much, and the problem is that Jake actually believes what he says, and I'm like, if you want to fight Woodley, boy, you should not be fighting with Tyron Woodley. You should be fighting stinking, like, Billy Joe Saunders right now, or whatever. Like, it's so laughable, but I'm not going to get mad at it, because at this point, Jake just says the most absurd things, but it gets people talking, and it keeps him relevant, but the sad part is that he believes that, and, yeah.
I'm just fighting guys who can't hit me. How am I going to get better in the ring under those lights and get that experience?
All of your opponents hit you, Jake.
So Tyron's
and that's
the
a fact.
Person to maybe get me to the 3rd round for the first time ever.
Hey, can you take this cup from me? Hey, I have a career, and I had a career before it was even legal.
This is actually not what they tell me. They say this is the biggest challenge. And every single day they say this is a serious fighter.
They should have told you it's suicide.
There's a lot on the line here. This is a high-risk fight.
Oh, and then Jake just talks about his team.
They tell me, Jake, you...
And then they say they don't yes men him on, which I just don't think is true.
You have to post it on your Instagram feed. Deal or no deal.
And they talk about the tattoo.
oh, it's going to be a great night of fighting.
They face off.
Let's get down to business. Now, pugilistic puncher.
Pugilistic puncher. Give me a break. Yeah, I mean, okay, so at the end of the day, Jake Paul put on a very poor press conference performance. Woodley was speaking facts, and I wouldn't say Woodley won this press conference, because I don't think Woodley won this, and I don't think Jake won this, but I feel like this is the weakest press conference Jake Paul has ever had, and it's given us some really good indicators of what could happen in the fight, and just showing that Jake Paul, what worked for Jake Paul, when it doesn't work, he kind of just gives up, which is, kind of a bit of a concerning thing. And I'm excited for this fight. And again, Woodley spoke facts. And, it just, yeah, I mean, he spoke facts. I don't even really need to go into Woodley's performance because it was great. So I guess, I don't want to say Woodley won it because, again, it was just him speaking facts, being calm, and Jake just kind of being all antic-y. And Woodley said, if you really believe in yourself, you don't need to get all worked up. You can just be calm like me. So, yeah, man, I hope Woodley wins this. And I think that Jake Paul, even if he wins, will be in for a rude awakening. And, Oh god, man, I hate that I've made like 2 videos on him in a row. So like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.